Hey, sorry about that. I had a phone call I had to take, right? How rude. Anyway, so I decided to have a very, very watered down contrast paint black Templar. So actually, I'm someone that has traditionally used a lot of black in my art. And I have found that in miniatures, and I've used my fair share with miniatures as well, but I found that it takes over a lot of times. And it just, I just feel oftentimes that it's better to be, um, to accomplish tasks, uh, without it generally. But again, there's a lot of brown in this already, so I'm limited. So I'm going to introduce some black to bring out the detail of the rope that is keeping their britches up. I mean, I don't know. Because I do want to be able to see the bits of rope. So, bum, 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 bum. I might come to regret this, but again, it's very watered down. It's really, I've made it into a shade more or less. And let's see. Sorry about that. My phone scared the bejeebus out of me. It was too loud. I'm sitting here doing a nice quiet stream, and the phone is yelling at me. What does the fox say, right? What does the fox say? All right. So I'm also, again, using a little bit to bring out the detail in their gauntlets. Trying to keep it to a minimum, but there's just so many shades of brown that I have. And I mean, I could leave it alone, right? I mean, you could. Maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe I'll hit it with a little light or something afterwards. I don't know. I don't think I'll have time for that really, because again, maybe I'll come back and change the decision, or maybe mitigate it a little bit later on. Sorry, I'm trying to keep this on camera for you. I love this guy. Right? Look at that. He's got some pecs. He needs his pecs need to be toned down a little. Actually, I could use a lot of this on the swords as well. Let's just do the rope. I won't even get into the swords right now. Let's just batch out the rope so I don't get confused what I've done and what I haven't done. Because really the big thing I have to do tonight is I got to do the basing, which I'm going to use like a sand, rock, twig, mixture of, natural substances to get that effect. I've just given everything a brown undertone for the base. See, that's the thing with me. I start using black everywhere. And it's just so powerful, right? You know? Use everything in moderation, right? I mean, that's sort of a rule of life. Sort of a rule of life. So, I'm happy with this. What was that? This guy, I love this guy, this running guy. Here, let me move that out of the way. Can't even see if that's focused or not. Hopefully it is. Can I get up there? I don't know. Hopefully that's focused. I don't have my glasses on. I'm actually getting new glasses with a little bit more, a little bit more of a bifocal in it, so I could keep my glasses on while I paint my minis, and then be able to see my computer screen simultaneously. There you go. Yeah, see, I found with mini painting, it's a lot of it is experimentation, right? You do it. That's why I like to use the what do they call it? The dry brushing technique. I base all of my minis black. Then I do a dry brush of like some sort of off white. And some people, that's sort of what they do, and then they're done, which is fine. But for me, it just sort of gives me a sense of the mini, right? Of the design of the mini, the details, all these sorts of things, and allows me to. The sort of red doesn't have as much detail in it as I sort of want, so. See, for me, the black takes over because I like it so much. But if you like the effect, you like the effect, right? This guy is awesome. Anyway, but remember, even when it comes to the black, use of very thin down black. This is more. I just finished him. Okay, now our pole guy. You see, now what I'm doing, and again, it changes. So now what I was sort of putting the black on for the rope, but now what I'm more doing, by the time I get to the eighth one, it's solidifying in my head. I'm more putting it around the rope, because the darker around the rope, you get the highlights of the rope without the darkness of it, and it brings out the detail, and that's all you really want, right? You just want the detail in the model to be brought up. That's sort of what the goal is. So, a lot of times what I try in the beginning, I'm like, oh, the opposite is actually what I want to do of what I was doing. I had an art teacher when I was young. She's like, she opened her house. We would come as art students, and she had all the art supplies and everything you could ever want. And she's just like, create. Very little instruction. If we had questions, she would, of course, answer them and color filling and all that. But I never had questions. I just created. And so my fundamentals are sometimes poor, but I like it. I think it sets my painting apart. There's so much of, and again, I'm not criticizing any other people's painting styles, but I like how I paint. And sometimes it's not the best way to do it, or the ba ba ba, or the whatever. But I like it. All right. Okay. So, boo, this. See, a little bit of black over here. And again, I try to. That looks good. There. Okay, so I'm going to do the swords now. Because these are not great swords, right? These are crappy, maybe found swords, right? So I don't want them glittering and glistening too much. I want them to be, okay, he has no sword. I want them to be, sharp but dull, right? Yeah. Boop, boop, boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And so what I'm going to then I'm going to finish off the greaves when I'm done with these, with the swords. And then I think I'm going to go on to the basing. I just sort of like it's really sort of a get her done approach tonight, really. Because that's the thing. I want them for play tomorrow. And again, this is why whatever I sell on my Etsy shop, I've already created and painted, and I show my clients, what it looks like. And the ones you'll see on the site are generally mine. Those are the ones I made first, and I will keep them. And those are the ones that I learn on, right? Like, I'll take the ones that are probably more imperfect and has probably too many layers of paint, or more than there should be in some cases, because I'm figuring it out. And by the time I get it to the people, I know what I'm doing. I don't. There's less. You don't have to create it, right? Like see, now this is my black is getting too black again, too thick, because these paints dry up very quickly, and that's again why I like them. But you have to be cognizant of that, because I don't want it to be too much. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, so we've done that. So now what I want, a bit of a rust, right? And maybe actually, I'll break my own rule. I'll bring the Gorgunta back for the rust. Let's see how this works. Water it down. Technical medium. Again. Right. Because I want to wash. Start from the beginning. Not the magic users. And okay, not a lot, just enough to hint at a little rust. Not the best equipment. Right. I don't want it to be overwhelming. I still want it to read as metallic. But gleaming swords, I do not want. It's working perfect as far as I could tell at this point in this lighting. We'll see tomorrow, right? This guy. I love this guy. I see him as like older stud guy. Just like, I don't need a shirt. Look at this. Who would hide this goblin body from everybody, right? It's beautiful. Great. I'm not ashamed to use my fingers, right? Some finger painting. All right. So now I just want to do like a little quasi detail for they have these little horns that come out of their gauntlets. And so I'm using some layer paint here. Oh, it is almost out. I'll just use the medium with the Gorgunta or Grunta or whatever it is, if you want to know correctly. And then just paint these guys, right? Just a little touch of horns. Oops, that was terrible. Happy little accident, right? Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. I might again hit that with. He doesn't have any gauntlets. Does he have anything else? So again, this is what I'll do afterwards. Is when I have more time, I'll go back in and just pick off some details in the rope that will really make them pop. If I do it correctly. But boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Right. Do that type of stuff. That looks really good. I'm just not going to do that tonight because nobody's going to notice that at the table. I'll tell you that. And I have to say, when I last session I brought out the caravan, the carriages that I made, and I worked my butt off on those for a long time. And again, creating the first version is always the hardest because you're creating it. You don't necessarily know what it's going to look like when it's done. And I do have enough of whatever it is, whatever you would call it, where when my table goes, wow, that's amazing. Um, Great. It's nice. It's a nice feeling. It's not necessary, right? You know, the game is not about the DM, right? I mean, the DM is one of the players, right? And hopefully, you're giving a lot to the game. But again, I look at it's a collaborative storytelling experience, right? Yes, the DM has a very central role, but it's not, you know, you're not playing in it's our sandbox, right? And I get to have a very specialized role in the sandbox, but uh, everybody else does too. And so if it's all about me and what I want to create and my story that I'm telling, as I'm not the first to say, go write a book. And so I love it when the story goes off script. Oh, here's a perfect example. Going off script is great, but last time we had one character, he sort of, plays like a stupid buffoon sort of orc guy, PC, and he has a backstory that the other players aren't really aware of because he isn't aware of it, right? Part of his backstory is he lost his memory was taken away, and because he had done horrible things with this gang called the Claw. Ooh, what the hell's that? And so what we're doing is he's basically, and he's like, yeah, he wanted to, like, that was sort of the thing, and he's like, yeah, and then I'll figure it out at some point. I'm like, okay. And so how I sort of created it is he would have moments when people were talking about Waterdeep. That's where he's from, and that's where he was a gang member, where he would have feelings, and sometimes he would be playing with disadvantage when he's faced, when there's something Waterdeepy sort of happening, and they haven't made it to Waterdeep, but they will make it to Waterdeep later in the campaign. And so, last couple sessions, they came across the Claw gang finally, and this isn't his Claw faction, but it is a Claw faction in the southern regions of the Sword Coast. And he has this very emotional reaction to interacting when he's seeing the insignia of the Claw gang. And he doesn't really know why. And I say to him, as he's having this sort of emotional moment, he's just like, I don't know what's going on, whatever. I say to him, you have a flashback. To the before times. He's like, oh, what do I see? And I said to him, I don't know. What do you see? And he then, told us what he saw. But just that one moment of him going, "Oh, I'm having a flashback," as part of this sort of, because he hadn't created that for himself. He was having this emotional tumult and he didn't know why. And then I'm like, "You have a flashback. What do I see? I don't know. What do you see?" And I loved it, right? Because it's his character. And so as DM, I could have created, something. And if, depending on what type of player, right? Some players don't want to do that, and that's fine. But he's a pretty experienced player, and I wanted to give him agency over his backstory. So I try to look for those sorts of opportunities to allow the players to make decisions about their own characters, and that was fun. Okay, so, geez, okay, so okay. So I'm pretty much done then with painting these guys. Maybe I might put a little more. But, again, I could do more with the gauntlets, but the basing I want to get to. Oh, you know what I'm going to do instead of the black? Yeah, let's just do black. It's just easier. I was going to do this bone color, the skeleton horde color. But I just want to get these guys done. And they look good. And I think, I like doing that for my table. I like giving my players fun, immersive things to play with. Like sometimes we went to, again, we were completely off script. We went to Mount Celestia. We, went to the sort of, there was an old lady who lived in a boot, and that whole thing interlude, again, nothing to do with Tyranny of Dragons, but how the players were going. I needed to create something and to give some backstory on what's going on in the world while giving them something to kill. And, they got to do it. And so they got to, experience some a lot of fighting. This time with gnolls. And I didn't have any gnoll minis. I used tokens, and I think a couple of them sort of, were gnolls in the token. See, here's the thing. If I go darker around the rope, just maybe hit just right there. Oops. That wasn't good. Got too much clear medium in there. Instead of putting too much on the rope, but around the rope, it makes it pop much more. And just remember, it's a game. We're all there to have fun. I found that the game, for me personally, is almost like a spiritual experience. I mean, it's been a great asset for me during the times of post-COVID, right? And it's been very meaningful, and I'm glad that I found the game. I found the game not through Stranger Things or even COVID, but after that. I initially thought it was like, oh, something for my son because I wanted to give him a rule set, but with imagination, how you maximize your imagination, even if you have constraints of a rule set. And that's for various different reasons. And he was probably a little young for the game. And there's other complicating factors. So it's not something he really does at this point. But that's how I discovered it. And I'm like, I had no idea how to play the game. I wasn't aware of real play, YouTube videos. And I just said to myself, I'll just find a physical game. I went on the Facebook and did it and found it. And there you go. And then that's the rest is history, as they say. And it's a nice break from the real world. It's a nice time with people who are friends now that I didn't know before the game. And it's also a workout. Being a DM is also a workout, right? There you go. Just hits on that. Boom. Boom, boom. Just a little more detail. All right. So basing. Okay, so basing. So I really haven't planned this out. I have this, and what else do I have? A lot of things, but I want my sand. I like white sand. Rocks. Oh, I might use some black rocks. Where's my sand? There, here's my sand. Okay. So basically, I'm going to put glue on the bases of them, PVA glue, and then I'm going to cover them in dirt. So now this is too chunky for the activity, I think. So I have to sort of weed it down. I got to take a lot of these bigger pieces out. Right? It's a little dusty, sorry. Although not that you're inhaling it. I'm inhaling it, but okay. So I don't want these bigger pieces in here. But what I do is I just take little things and I shake this box up. And I don't know what these little berries are. And you get what you get. Ta-ta. And we'll see how it goes. So there's a lot of the white sand is in here. I think that actually is going to be fine. And I don't want a lot of the larger stuff. This will be plenty. And then I'll see what I get, and then I'll adorn it in whatever way I feel I need to. And then we'll go from there. PVA glue. All right. So shall we see how this goes? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to be pretty liberal with the glue. And again, you try to keep it off the model. But, these are barefoot goblins running, around. So if there's some debris sort of stuck to their feet, well, that sort of makes sense, right? I mean, yeah, that's not bad. And even if there's some stuck to the bottom part of their schmuck, right? course, duh, the one thing I do have to do, as you probably have guessed. Oh, here, I should do that on camera. Sorry. Let me move these guys back so I have enough room. Oh, did I just break a sword? I just broke a sword. Okay, I can fix that. I just broke a sword. Okay. You got to take them off the base. These are pill bottles. I super glue them. I used to use other stuff, but super glue works because it just pops right off. Okay. Super glue. Anyway, try not to get any on the side. But again, you could always take it off later, right? And I like to put enough glue. You gotta sort of be fast with this, or it doesn't stick. So I'm trying to get as much really on there as possible. And there was some texture in this base, but okay, let's see how it goes. Let's get it here. Okay, and then let's see what happens. You just put them in. Right. Great. Look. Let's see. Let that focus, hopefully. Great. Pop him off. Because I thought super glue would be the worst type of glue to do this, right? Because you're like, it's glue forever. You can't undo super glue, right? Well, once in a while, it gives me a little bit of a problem, but I found all the methods sort of give you a problem one way or the other at different times. And this is the one where they don't fall off unexpectedly very often. Pretty rare, actually. You have to knock it pretty good for it to pop off with it super glued. And you stick an X-Acto knife underneath them, just wedge it in there. And it pops off generally pretty easy. Now, sometimes you got a little residual on the bottom that doesn't make it super flush. But again, I put little black bases on the bottom anyway. So, as a stylistic thing, and again, not really a problem. Okay, so just make sure you get it in there. And knock off as much extra as you can. Looks great. Now, what I generally will do, though, is the secret and the reason why I need to do this tonight, because tomorrow I have a little bit of time before the session that I could, do some DM prep stuff. And that's when I'll finish the base, which I'll probably put more PVA, very watered down, into it, which will cement everything pretty much on there. Because some of this stuff is stuck on there, but it's not stuck great on there. So it will sort of eventually fall off. So you let it dry, and then you water some more. Well, I'll probably use Mod Podge for that, because I have matte, right? I don't want, this has a little bit of a gloss to it. So I'll water down my matte Mod Podge, and that'll cement everything on there. And then what I do is then you can go and paint on that too, right? Then give it the exact coloration you want. Now, for these guys, I probably won't do that step for this event, because I just don't think I'll have time. And I don't want wet minis. So again, get her done, get them on the table ready, uh, and this is exciting when we do this, right? You don't know what you're going to get. Don't want to drop them. I use the Anycubic 3D printer, and I've started with these guys using the Anycubic Tough resin. And I found it to be really great. I just did 2 dragons, again, rescale miniatures. Black dragon and actually 3 dragons. A black dragon, a green dragon, and a blue dragon with this tough Anycubic resin. And I tell you, it's so much better than the fast stuff. Oh my God. Fast stuff is so brittle. For me, I don't want to do quantity. I want to do quality. And so I don't want to sell a million, 3D printed and out the door minis. I want to make quality minis, paint them, maybe even, have them some sort of personalization or customization, requested from clients, and make them look awesome, maybe not perfect, maybe not, but make them look awesome. Make them wow your players at the table. Give your players that, oh my God, that's so cool. Those are great goblins. Like I'll use some of the WizKid stuff. I like to have a few WizKid stuff because, yes, WizKid stuff can break like all minis, but they're pretty spongy, much spongier than any 3D printed resin. So these are never toys. These are never playthings. You have to be gentle and respectful with them, but they have a wow factor that can you see that? I hope I'm not denying people the am I seeing it better than you are type of thing. And again, here, let me put my glasses on. So when I look over here, I'm looking at my screen of what you're saying. So yeah, maybe if I stop moving it, you can see a little better. Anyway, I'm really happy with how this is working out. I'm not happy that I'm breaking people's swords, though. Okay, I love this guy. I don't know if I'm loving the silver hat. I think it's okay. I don't know. Maybe in the next batch you change it a little bit. Maybe you don't use the silver. I don't know. But I think it looks cool. It's just like, I don't want it to look like armor, right? It's in that silver. So, but again, playing D&D, a lot of times it's compromise. Like, it's a compromise. Like, you want it to work as a game, and you want to work, as immersion. And really it's art, right? But I want it to work on the table. If it doesn't work well on the table, and if it isn't fun because of the artiness or the DM, creativityness, if it's not fun, then there's a better solution. And so, again, I don't want my players to have to say the one with 2 scimitars. No, the other one with 2 scimitars, right? The one with the witch hat, Purple one. You move the purple one. I want to attack the purple one. See, so nice. All right. Dun, 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 dun. I love this. This is actually pretty satisfying. Dumping these guys in here. This is all natural material. Much of it I sort of baked. Right. Oh, this is too much. Oh. I don't want this big piece here. I don't want that. Again, you could trim it afterwards too. But again, and I don't want to lose the effect that this back foot is not attached, right? He's only attached by 1 foot. And so I do not want no one to see that because it's really cool. Oh, am I going to blow on it? No. Yeah. All right. And I'll probably, again, do a little trim on these tomorrow. Let's see. I have a couple hours before the play. We play at night at a bar in a back room, and it's fun. It's a little weird for RP, right? Because you're doing it in public, and then a lot of times the bar patrons are like, "Oh my god, D&D, D&D," and you hear people like whispering about the game or whatever. But that's fine. We've actually gotten a couple of amazing players because they were at the bar, and they're like, "Hey, do you have a spot in the game?" And we're like, "No." But within, a few months, we did, and they played with us it was this wonderful couple. And they played over a couple of years, I think, with them. And they, a married couple, Friday nights, and they love games and other things, so they have other things. But this is a little tricky one to get. Sorry, this is why I have this camera that has the AI in it, so I could go over here. I don't know if the AI I could program it for like follow my minis. Maybe you can. Anyway, sorry. Hopefully I'll get better at the technical aspect of this as we go on because, like I say, I want to do Monday through Thursday, not super long, crazy streams because I just don't have that time. An hour and a half. Oh, this is. Oh my god! Did I break 2 swords? No, this was the sword I broke. Okay. It's not 100% broken though. So I'm going to try to fix it after I do this because it's not fully broken off. Because the resin is tough even when I grab it bad. I think I'm going to call this guy Grandpa. He just, for some reason, to me, his face is older. All right. Can I just do it real quick and it work? Oh my god, I just did that with my fingers. Because I'm getting tired too. I don't know. Okay, now this, I have to take the glasses off. Okay, so this is just liquid super glue, ultra liquid control. So it's the liquidy, but it dries faster than the gels a lot of times. So let's see. Can I use gravity to help me? Can I do it? Oop. I don't think this is going to work. It's going to work. Oh. Oh my God, I'm doing a stream where we're not watching grass grow. but we're watching paint or glue dry. Fascinating. Look at this. Will it stick? Maybe that's satisfying. Am I patient enough on a live stream when I break my own mini to hold it long enough so I don't have a problem? Right? Because if I hold it long enough, as you know, it'll stick. But if I get impatient or I'm talking so much that I'm not paying attention, it will not work out. Okay. All right. Oh, see, now I'm messing up the back. Right? Do one thing at a time. Okay, so it seems like it's staying. I'm going to put him down. Put him way over here. Move everybody else away from there. And unless it falls when I'm not looking. It seems like it's staying. It's not 100% perfect, but good enough. Adds character to the mini. Right? Okay. So we're almost done here. And then once I base the... See, my glue's getting a little tacky, which is making it hard to slide it under the guy without getting it on the clothes. And again, sometimes I like, I don't want to waste glue. And so I start using glue that's too dry, that's too tacky. And that affects the final product. Yeah. And so you gotta see the forest through the trees sometimes. Sometimes you're like, yes, that glue is going to be, I put too much glue out and I got too dry before I was able to use it all. So slow down, use smaller amounts of white glue in this activity, and you can always put more on later. It's nice and fresh and predictable, right? Nice, fresh, and predictable. Boom, 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 boom. But with the live stream, and I hope to make some shorts and stuff from this content. Hopefully we'll build a following. And again, I'm not here to tell people how to play the game or that I know the best way to do things. And I'm going to give you tips and tricks from the master. I have been playing the game for like 3.5 years, weekly, in person. I've had 3 or 4 different dungeon masters. I've done some one-shots as DM, and now this is my campaign. That is, again, a heavily modified version of Tyranny of Dragons. So let's see. Let's not break these swords here. Look how nice that pops off. And these are pill bottles. Regular pill bottles. I take the child safety stuff off. I glue the tops on because I don't want any, sometimes, right? And, sometimes you got to file it down or whatever it is and just glue them on top. Work great. Okay. Sort of fun. Sometimes let nature decide. Okay, so I'm going to now put all of this back in here. All right. All right. So really, that's it for tonight. These guys are pretty much done, right? This is always satisfying when you take them off whatever you're holding them with. And I do recommend holding them with something like this. Holding the mini and painting it is not ideal. And you're always going to have a problem with it. And this is so much better. Whatever, I'm old, so I take all the prescription drugs. Oh, wait, I have one more. I missed one. I'm like, oh, I missed one. Oh, well, geez, now that I've done this, I knew I was like sitting like, oh, should I put all this stuff back? I think I'm done. I'm not done. I missed one. Oh my God. See, again, like anyone watching this is probably like, wait, that's not the right number of goblins. He had 8 goblins and one is put to the side and he victimized. But what happened to the red one? Nothing. I'm too focused on, oops. Sorry. Again, I will get better at this and making sure you're able to see everything. You're getting to see, if you're watching this, you're getting to see me early on. And I am going to be consistent. I think consistency is key. So, hopefully I'm doing something that people like to watch, because I don't want to be the guy that knows everything. I want to be the guy that is learning while doing, and I pretty avid consumer of D&D YouTube, and I certainly have learned a lot from it. I've learned a lot from play, but again, as a DM, there's only so much studying you could do of the rules, and do I know the rules good enough? And I blah 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 blah. You have to do it, and then you'll see, oh, this I'm totally over prepared on, and this I don't like doing. I like doing, this worked, blah 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 blah, and you evolve. And not only here, I'm just gonna look at this. I'm just throwing them in. Oh no, I'm being sand. Sand is no, I'm sorry. Sand is getting me. This is, I tell you, this worked out great. And this is really some moss, sand, little rocks, the wood, little wood chips and whatnot that I shake around, to get those little tiny bits. And here. How's that? Maybe I'll make some more thumbnails. Yeah, really happy with this. They look good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. Good night. Wish me luck. I will touch base next week, letting you know how the game went. Did it go to plan? What worked? What didn't work? What happened that wasn't expected? That was the best part of the whole thing. Whatever. So have a good evening, and may the D&D, may the tabletop role-playing game be with you.